former Prime Minister Scott Morrison has made an intervention on the coalition's issues with net zero, saying that net zero at any cost on a rigid timetable is not policy but ideology. It's interesting, this also comes just as Bill Gates, who spent decades fear-mongering around climate change, has now backflipped, saying that climate change will not lead to humanity's demise. So it seems like more and more people are kind of getting a bit of common sense when it comes to climate change. But what do you make of Scott Morrison's comments and what it means for the coalition's position?
Well, I thought Scott was absolutely correct. It is an ideology. I mean, most people don't know what net zero means here in Australia. They sort of grab this phrase and say, oh, yes, we agree with it. It's become part of the religion here. The more thinking people like the idea of a net zero increase in emissions, but say, well, hang on, it can't come at any cost. It can't come at booming prices, particularly for electricity. And so what we're seeing around the world, not just here, but in Britain and Germany, other countries, is people saying, look, we like it as an objective, but it is sending our countries deep, deep, deep into debt. It's killing the chances of the working middle class to pay their bills. And so you're seeing a market correction. The problem the coalition's got here in Australia is that having introduced net zero in 2021, we're now actually trying to tell people, no, now we're against it. And that's politically a very difficult argument. It takes several years to sort of explain to people why you're now changing your mind. It's a sophisticated argument. And so the coalition here are being bedeviled a bit by our own history, because as I said, it was only 4 years ago that we first introduced this policy, which the nation then grabbed.
Finally, Michael, Victoria's crime crisis isn't getting any better. Just in the space of 48 hours at the start of the week, there was a string of violent incidents in Melbourne, including a knife attack. There are, of course, growing calls for intervention from the Victorian government. Yet the Premier, Jacinta Allan, she insists that everything is fine.
Well, of course, she's a member of the hard left of the Labor Party. She's like sort of members of the hard left of these Democratic-run cities in America that pretend crime doesn't exist. She gives press conferences, despite the fact people hit with machetes and knives all around Melbourne. She says, no, Melbourne's safe. There's sort of zombie interviews where she's saying things which are completely unbelievable, and people just look at her and shake their heads. So Victoria's basically lawless these days. People get caught, they get bail, they get caught again, they get bail. I mean, it's a very soft bail regime we have here in Victoria. And one of the things the opposition tried to do here was to bring in a law to stop people wearing masks at demonstrations. A lot of these demonstrations are violent. They have terrorist flags, terrorist symbols. Nazis are at these demonstrations. And so to put these people to their proof, the opposition tried to bring in a policy in the parliament yesterday to say, if you're going to demonstrate, you can't go with a mask. Well, the Labor Party opposed that. So that shows you how serious they are about bringing people to account for some of the violence that happens at these demonstrations. And we have a massive, massive law and order problem here in Victoria, and it seems to be getting worse.
Michael Kroger, former president of the Victorian Liberal Party and Sky News contributor, thank you so much for joining us.
Pleasure. Thanks, Gab.